Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. Following the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day Massacre of people in Plateau communities in this December, the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, granted an interview to the channel's television on what he found on ground, and he made certain what may appear to be startling revelation to people on how herdsmen or terrorists have taken over Plateau lands and nobody is doing anything about it. And the significance of that revelation and why it portends serious danger for the peace and stability of Nigeria. But first of all, let us look at what he told the channel's television about what he found on ground when he visited the scene of the crime. This interview was conducted on December 26th. That's Boxing Day. He told the channel's television that this morning in Bacchus local government area, that we have counted not less than 100 corpses. And I'm yet to take stock of that of Barkin Ladi. Speaking further, he said most of the communities affected in Barkin Ladi share boundary with Bokos local government area. He said at the last count also, we have not less than 17 communities that were completely touched, meaning burnt down and brought down by these bandits and criminals. He went on to say that when people are dislocated in their villages, they have to run for shelter. That is what we are struggling to provide shelter for these people that have been displaced and dislocated from their communities. Going forward, he said, if they stay away from these communities for a sustained period of time, the terrorists will come in. As I'm talking to you today, that's on that 26th of December, in Riyam, local government, in Barkin Ladi, local government, schools have been occupied by these terrorists. These schools have been occupied by these terrorists for almost a number of years now. We have not less than 64 communities that have been displaced, and the lands have been taken over by these marauding terrorists. So it means that places that have been where terrorists are staying is well known, because they have displaced the local communities. They are staying there. 64 communities. That's what he's saying here. He said, if this pattern continues, then you can see the trajectory. At the end of the day, it is about pushing people out of the land and taking it over. We need, therefore, to come up with a program, and I will be talking with Mr. President on this. We need to summon the political will to give instruction to the security agencies that they must act to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria and even the internal integrity of our land boundaries. He went on to say that there are ways of acquiring land, not through violence. We must be able to resort to constitutionalism in dealing with these issues. People who want land in Plateau are free to apply or approach communities and negotiate and settle in those communities. I don't think it is something the people will refuse. But where they resort to violence to take over those lands, you will be sure that this is a time bomb, because it will reach a point where the people will react. I don't really know what the governor means by that. If it hasn't reached a point where the people will react, I don't know what point they will react. Of course, their reaction should be to compel the government to do the needful. He went on to say so many other things, but this is where I will stop from what he has said, and let us dwell on the revelation he made. About 64 communities have been driven away in Plateau State. Their communities taken over. It means that these terrorists were deliberate in what they are doing. They know what they are doing. They chase away the people they took over. The governor himself said schools have been occupied for several years now by these terrorists. Yet, the Nigerian government officials, the security agencies, don't know where these people are, don't know who these people are. They are occupying a place. This governor was saying it with certainty that they have been occupying schools in Plateau State. Schools in Plateau State, occupying communities. And Nigerian government is still pretending as if you don't know what to do to bring peace in Plateau State and some other parts of the country where there have been this deliberate desire to take over people's land, as been alleged by the governor. Now, what the governor of Plateau State said about the taking over of their land by herders is not new to somebody like me. That's why on the screen, you are seeing there's a newspaper report by the Vanguard newspaper published on December 12, 2021, titled "How Herdsmen Seized Renamed Plateau Communities." Mutfwang, that's the son of Mutfwang Jos, making this revelation to Vanguard newspaper in 2021, December 12, 2021. And where this incident now happened, this recent massacre also happened in December period. Now, this Mutfwang, we I told you is the son of Mutfwang Jos. In this interview, narrated how herdsmen had occupied 112 Plateau communities and renamed the communities, drove away the community members and renamed the communities. So what the Plateau governor, I brought this matter of what had been known since 2001 in a report by the Vanguard newspaper. It's a detailed report. You can go and read it up. It's a detailed interview of how people are suffering in Plateau State because their community lands were taken over, and the people that took it over, they're not in hiding, because if they are in hiding, they will not occupy the place. In fact, this first son of Mutfwang Jos, who was a spokesman for the Middle Belt Alliance, Samba, Prince Mutfwang. In that interview, he is Prince Mutfwang Jr. In that interview, he granted the Vanguard newspaper. He narrated a sorry state of things in Plateau State. He talked about how these terrorists, herders, or whatever you may like to call them, how these people have taken over communities in Plateau State. As those communities have been driven away, they are now farming in those communities. He said that they are now planting tomatoes, harvesting tomatoes, and are selling tomatoes. This interview was in, I'm telling you, it's 2021. 2021. This was happening in Nigeria. And that was the time that Buhari was the president of Nigeria. He didn't do nothing to stop this from happening. And of course, you yourself know that even Buhari, under his regime, his Katsina state, over 12 local government was under the control of bandits. So if he cannot even bring peace and stability to his Katsina state, you think he would have bothered about Plateau State. So Plateau State was among those parts of Nigeria that was allowed to suffer under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Their security was not taken care of. These bandits that occupy their lands, nothing was done to drive them away. And from what the narration by the present governor now, you can see that since that time, 2021, or even before then, these people who have been terrorizing Plateau people, terrorizing Plateau community, terrorizing Plateau farmers, terrorizing Plateau residents, are not hiding themselves. They are not people that you can say, okay, they just appear in the night and then disappear during the daytime. Because any group of terrorists who will occupy communities and rename them, and then we are farming in the places, and they will come out after harvesting, they will come out to be selling the tomatoes and everything else. It shows you that these guys are prepared for land grabbing violently. Now, the governor was talking about that there are processes to get land. If they want land, that they should apply for land. These people are not people that would apply for land in that process. The style they come with is to take over. And only a government that is determined to restore peace and security in Nigeria can deal with them. A government that is ready for the welfare of the generality of the people can deal with them. Not what the governor is talking about is a diplomatic way of doing it, but it's not going to work. Because you cannot compel communities to sell land to you. It's their ancestral land. Because you are a herdsman, or you are an Igbo man, or you are an Hausa man, or a Yoruba man, you come to Jos or Plateau State, you want land. It is at their own discretion to sell land for you. So the governor cannot even begin talking about that if they ask for land, that he's sure that people will give them land to settle and all that. No, that is not their modus operandi. In fact, this Prince Guampang, in that interview, he granted Vanguard newspaper. He narrated the process. He said these people, they may be foreigners, they may be colluding with Nigerians. First of all, they will be taking their car. First, they will try to provoke you. They will try to provoke you by allowing their cattle to feed on your farm. When you protest, then in the night they come and attack you. And if that was not enough for you, if you still complain again, then they try to wipe you out. And when they wipe you out, when they wipe out the people they met, those who are remaining will run away to IDP's camp. And then they will now begin to graze their cattle there. Then they begin to settle there. And then they now become their own. And then they begin to farm on your farmland and everything. And you have a government. The responsibility of government, the reason why government exists is to take care of the security of life and property. The only reason all of us handed over our loyalty to the government is because government have promised to protect our lives and property. That was why all of us are not supposed to be carrying guns to defend ourselves. We're not supposed to be carrying knives to defend ourselves. We're not supposed to be carrying bombs to defend ourselves. That responsibility had been handed over to the government through the creation of states, through the existence of nations. So it is the responsibility of the government of the day to call these people to order, to deal with them, to tell them that they cannot forcefully take over people's lands. They cannot drive away communities. They came from somewhere. Wherever they came from, they should go back to that place and make it a better place. If they are having challenges with climate change in their area, there should be West Africa can come together as ECOWAS to find a way of handling them, a way of applying technology to sort out this problem. But they cannot continue to be a menace, and Nigeria cannot continue to tolerate it. And it is saddening because these things that are happening in Nigeria cannot happen in Ghana. It cannot happen in Benin Republic. You cannot hear this kind of story that bandits, terrorists took over a community. Communities took their land over, occupied their schools for years, as narrated by the governor of Plateau State. And nothing is done to remove them from that place. And you can see from the tone of the governor. Go and watch the interview on Channels Television. Go to YouTube and watch it. Elsewhere. He appeared helpless. He said this thing had been happening for years. He was narrating it as if he was narrating a story as disinterested observer. But it's because he appeared helpless. This cannot continue in a country. Nigeria cannot continue to act like a banana republic, where a group of people will gather and chase away communities and took over their land, and the government will not do anything about it. President Muhammadu Buhari did absolutely nothing to solve this type of problem. In fact, one of the things as narrated by this Mutfwang in that 2021 interview to Vanguard was that the government like to couch it as this is just a mere neighborliness conflict between herders and farmers. And Mutfwang was saying that the reason why they narrated that is so that the international community will not put eye on this matter, so that they will see it as an ordinary communal problem. But it's beyond that. A communal problem in which the other side will take over your land, take over your farm, and occupy it with impunity, and nothing is done to push them out of that place. And you now become a refugee. You now become a man and woman and children that will be living in IDP camps at the mercy of the weather and the elements. You now become a beggar in your own country for doing nothing just because you have a land that somebody was interested in. And it is your discretion to either allow a man to take over your land or not to take it over. In terms of, if you don't want to sell your land to somebody, nobody should force you to sell it. Nobody should compel you to sell it. So this is really a very touchy situation. It's saddening that this can only happen in Nigeria. As I told you, this cannot happen in Ghana. It cannot happen in Benin Republic. It can't even happen in Togo. Have you heard anything like this reported in Ghana? That herdsmen took over communities, renamed them, and are farming there, and the government of Ghana will allow them to do that, or government of Togo will allow them to do that, or government of Burkina Faso or anywhere will allow this kind of thing to happen. No country, except in Nigeria, where we mismanage our diversity just for the interest of the whims and caprices of a few people. It is such a sad story, and Buhari failed woefully in that. And I'm also seeing the same direction being repeated in this administration. It means that there is no hope for many people in rural communities, especially in northern Nigeria, because all the same blueprint that Buhari was using is what Tinubu is now using too. By condemnation, by giving order to security agencies, orders that they don't even care whether they implement it. And that is not the way to go. The president must be determined. He must show courage to get to the root of this matter. And it's not a mere farmer-herders clash that they want to paint it. It's not supposed to be like that. And I have seen that direction. If you look at the speech that the vice president, Kashim Shettima, delivered in that place, there was also the plot to coach the whole thing as communal disagreement. That's not supposed to be. These are issues of criminality. These are the issues of genocide. These are issues of taking over people's land and needs to be taken seriously by the government. A whole lot more is needed by the government than the kind of platitude they give to all these things. How can a governor, now this new governor now has been there for the past 6 months or thereabout, even his position is shaken. He has been sacked by the tribunal. He has been sacked by the appeal court. His stay in government is barely, only God can save him now. The Supreme Court is what he's waiting for. I can bet you for sure that he's not well coordinated. That's why sometimes some of us believe that before you swear anybody in, let all these matters be sorted out. All these issues of his election and stuff be sorted out. Okay? Now, a governor is telling you that this thing has been happening in his state for years. It means this thing had been happening under previous governors. But according to Wang Pang, in the interview which you can see on your screen, he insisted that things got worse under Lalong. Under the previous government, Joshua Darie and Jonah Jang and all that, they were able to manage this land grabbers, were able to control the situation. But under Lalong literally left the state defenseless from his analysis. But whatever may be the case, it's not just a question of Lalong. Of course, Lalong himself need to have played a role by drawing attention to these schools that are occupied by terrorists to ensure that they are driven away. But he was busy praising Buhari, presenting himself as Buhari's boy when his state was being literally taken over by terrorists, as narrated in this report by the Vanguard newspaper. It's something I want people to read. Vanguard reported this matter in several editions. They did a feature on it. They did an interview on it with this the son of Gwangwem Jos, so that people will be able to appreciate that what this man is complaining about today, the present governor, about the occupation of land by these terrorists and taking it over, is not new. It means that until these people are uprooted from Plateau State, until they are driven away from the lands that are illegally occupied, until the people are given protection, I think even as we enter the 2024, it's a sad story to say that what we saw, what we have seen on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day Massacre in Plateau State will continue to repeat itself, because we are yet to see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu doing anything different from what Buhari had done in the last 8 years. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.